From the very second your alarm goes off in the morning to the news you're scrolling through at night, our world is being reshaped by these powerful, quiet new tools. So today, we're going to dig into these emerging technologies and see how they're jumping right out of science fiction and into our everyday lives. So let's just start with a quick question for you. Seriously, think about your day so far. How many different new technologies have you actually used? I mean, from your phone to maybe your car. The answer is probably way more than you think.
Let's make this super real. Picture a student, let's call her Mutesi. Her day kicks off with her phone's alarm. That very same phone then checks the weather forecast and gives her a heads up that it might rain. Later, at school, she's using a computer to access a digital textbook, and right after the lesson, she takes a quick online test and bam, she gets her results instantly. That is a whole lot of tech, right? All happening before she even has lunch.
Okay, so we're seeing it in action, but what do we actually mean when we say emerging tech? Let's zoom out from those everyday examples and get a really clear definition. At its heart, it's actually pretty simple. We're talking about new tools, new machines that are just developing at an incredibly fast pace. But here's the key part. It's all about their impact. They are fundamentally changing how we live our lives, how we do our jobs, and even how we learn. Think of them as the technologies that are right on the edge of becoming totally normal. So what makes a technology emerging? Well, they usually have four things in common. First off, obviously, they're new. Second, they grow rapidly. I mean, they evolve at a crazy speed. This leads to number three. They have a big impact, often shaking up entire industries. And finally, the wild part. Their future is totally unpredictable. We just can't be sure what they'll look like in 5 or 10 years, which, is part of what makes it all so exciting. All right, definition, check. Now, let's pop open the toolbox and take a quick look at some of the most important emerging technologies that are out there right now. First up, let's start with a classic, robotics. Now, we might think of robots just doing the same repetitive job over and over, but the really cutting-edge stuff, the emerging part, is when these machines can watch, learn, and actually adapt to what's going on around them. And believe me, they are everywhere, even if we don't always notice them. They're the massive arms building cars with perfect precision in factories. They're assisting surgeons in incredibly delicate operations. And they're the little workhorses, zipping around giant warehouses, moving packages from one place to another. All right, next up in the toolbox is the big one, a term you hear absolutely everywhere these days: artificial intelligence, or AI. So, what is it? Well, AI is basically the tech that's designed to help computers think, learn, and solve problems kind of like we do. You can think of it as the brain that lets a machine understand what we're saying, recognize a picture, or even make a decision all on its own. And just like robots, AI isn't some far-off future thing. It's already here. It's the software that unlocks your phone with just a glance. It's that helpful little chatbot on a banking website that can answer your questions 24/7. And it's the brain behind the self-driving cars we're starting to see on our roads.
Okay, let's move on to our next tool, which kind of connects a lot of these ideas together: the Internet of Things, or IoT. The idea here is simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. It's basically a giant network of everyday objects, everything from your watch to your doorbell, that are all connected to the internet. This lets them share data and work together like a team. Just think about it for a second. Your smartwatch is tracking your health and sharing that info with your phone. Your smart doorbell lets you see who's at the front door even when you're miles away. Or you can turn on the lights in your house from your car just so you never have to walk into a dark home again. That's the IoT in action.
And finally, let's quickly clear up two things that get mixed up all the time: VR and AR. Virtual reality, VR, is all about immersion. You put on a headset and you are literally transported to a completely new digital world. Augmented reality, or AR, is different. It keeps you right here in the real world, but it adds a digital layer on top of it, like seeing a 3D model of the solar system pop up on your kitchen table, right through your phone's camera.
Okay, so we know what these tools are, but honestly, a tool is only as good as what you do with it, right? So now let's look at the incredible impact these technologies are having all across our world. And the impact is being felt just about everywhere. In education, VR can take students on a field trip to ancient Rome without ever leaving the classroom, while robots make learning to code a fun, hands-on game. In healthcare, AI is becoming this powerful sidekick for doctors, helping them spot diseases faster and more accurately. And on our roads, self-driving cars and smart traffic lights are starting to work together to make getting around safer and hopefully a lot less frustrating for all of us. But sometimes the most powerful changes come from using a relatively simple technology to solve a really critical problem. For that, let's look at an amazing case from Rwanda. This is the mission of a company called Zipline. They use drones to tackle a literal life-or-death challenge. How do you get blood and essential medical supplies to remote hospitals fast? When roads are bad or time is running out, these drones just fly right over all the obstacles to deliver what's needed. And they're saving countless lives. It's a perfect example of technology with a real human purpose. So, we've covered a lot, right? What emerging tech is, what the main tools are, and the impact it's already having. But this story is still being written. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of all this.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Knowing what you know now, if you could invent any new technology you wanted, what real-world problem would you pick to solve? Because the future isn't just something that happens to us, it's something we all have a chance to build.